everybody, my name is SueAnn Fequiere.
And my name is Joshua Fequiere.
And we want to welcome you to the First. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. Hit that like button and don't forget to share the content.
Yes. Please share it. We want to encourage you, and through you, we want you to be able to encourage others. And today we're talking about intimacy. And what we're finding is that word intimacy, it means something different to a lot of people. Intimacy involving passion, yes, also sex. So go ahead and please put the children to bed and let's talk about it. So intimacy in a relationship, and what does it mean to men and to women? When you hear that word intimacy, I want you to take a moment and think about, what does that word mean to you? What does it mean to you, Sue?
For me, I think about things like holding hands, spending time with you in an intimate setting, or even just being together, just being out, doing things together.
For me also, I think that it's a word that has evolved in my life. It wasn't really something that I talked about much. But through media, through conversations that you hear, early on when I heard that word, immediately I thought it meant sex. Intimacy, sex was like synonymous. And as I grew older and matured, I found that word actually has different levels to it. Intimacy is a closeness that one person has with another. A type of atmosphere that was created that created warmth and comfort. It was sexual intercourse. And so for me now, what it means to me is it deals with relationships, it deals with environment, and it leads to the act of sex. And so intimacy, it's pretty much just a buildup of things.
So one of the main factors that we have to consider when talking about intimacy and how people view or value intimacy is whether or not they saw it when they were a child. Did they see dad come up to mom and kiss her and hug her? Or did they see them dancing in the house, and just showing that love and that level of intimacy? Some people may not have been exposed to that, so they may not know what it is.
Absolutely. And just even like I said, for me, that word just kind of evolves because sometimes it's what it means to you. And I think this is a topic that is very key when it comes to a relationship, that you communicate about certain things. When you think about it with your spouse or significant other, there's certain things that's common to talk about, and there's certain things that you may not talk about much. And intimacy, how often do the two of you sit down and you talk about intimacy? What it means to me, what it means to you, and how we can connect it so that we can be intimate together. We understand each other. It's just a form of communication.
We have a previous video called Heat Check. When concerning intimacy, you just have to be communicating, you have to be talking, and a heat check just lays out a great format for you to be able to communicate different situations or different things that you may be going through in your life. So if you haven't done so already, please go back and check out previous video, Heat Check.
Absolutely. So I have a question for you all. How often do you and your significant other just talk about sex? Is this something that you talk about, or is it just an act that you perform together? Let me tell you, there's a big difference here. One thing I just want to point out with that is that we find that in a lot of relationships, the miscommunication is what leads to the relationship deteriorating. If there's a miscommunication with your finances, one person spends more than the other and you don't understand each other, and then that can lead to miscommunication. If there's miscommunication when it comes to just how you're raising the children, whatever the things is, you guys talk about it, get on the same page, and you're able to move forward. But what about if there's a miscommunication when it comes to sex? What your spouse wants, what you want, being able to illuminate that area and talk about it. Because as long as there's darkness there's a chance for miscommunication.
And the other thing is that you all may need to help each other. One may not be as open to discuss a topic like this, intimacy and sex.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, you're there and you're together, you're a team. So you feel out the person, find out what they're comfortable with, in terms of like talking and in action.
Yeah.
So when you are talking about intimacy and just thinking about intimacy, find out what they like. It's not just the act of sex, but the connection is usually both the intimacy and the sex. Because the intimacy is like the mental state of mind.
Yeah.
You get in the mode, you whisper in the air, you know all the little things, the little foreplay things that you do. And then the sex is a part of it.
Right.
It's the connection. And not only that, but the sex provides a spiritual connection.
Absolutely.
So in situations where you might be arguing or fighting or frustrated, that may mean that you may need to reconnect.
Yes. When it comes to intimacy and sex, there's a way that the world portrays it. And oftentimes it perverts and pollutes what it's meant to be. And so now it's such a way where you feel like you and your spouse you can't speak about it. But the thing is, when you look at how the world portrays it, sex is a thing that kind of drives people away from each other into the world looking for what they want because they don't know if they can get it at home. Why? Because they don't talk about it. When sex is really a gift to bring you together.
Yeah.
You know, when God saw Adam, he said it's not good for a man to be alone. And so he put them together, and his charge to them was to be fruitful and to multiply, to come together. And so the devil operates in darkness. He needs darkness for there to be confusion. And so as soon as you set light into any area, whether it is in your finances, and you're able to say, okay, I have a spending problem, I can come clean and I can talk to you, or whatever area in your life, is once you shed light, your partner, your spouse can come and partner with you and say, okay, we're going to get through this together. Sometimes the two of you can be sexually frustrated because you don't talk about things that you really want because you're assuming that your spouse is a mind reader.
But not only that, you want them to do certain things and you're like, do it. And then they don't do it.
They don't know.
They don't know. Tell them what you want.
Yeah.
Tell them, be like, a little bit right there, a little bit right there, a little bit right here.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're a team.
Absolutely. Think about it. I mean, think about it. In anything you do in life, there's training. And don't nobody start to get a little bit like your ego hurt. I'm like, I don't need no training in that area. No, it's you're training each other to understand each other.
Yes.
Sex is a form of communication, and you could be wasting your time doing something that you think your spouse likes.
Oh man.
And your spouse is like, hey, you know what I mean?
You just burnt all that energy for no reason.
You know what I mean?
And it was like,
yeah. It was like, with no round of applause. You know what I mean?
Listen, don't put your spouse in a situation where they have to lie to you to stroke your ego. Just find out what they want and just
trust me.
Make it magic.
Yeah, communication is so key. And as long as you guys don't communicate, there's always room for miscommunication. And a lot of times, remember, we talked about it from the very beginning of JSFequiere. That statistic really bothered us, that over 50% of marriages today is ending in divorce. One of the top reasons was because of finances. The second reason is the fact that there's a lack of intimacy or sex, or it's just there's a miscommunication to where it leads to someone stepping out. And so if there's someone, you don't want someone to feel like they can get outside of the marriage what they could have right here at home, and it's not that one person is not willing, it's just that there's no communication. So you put on that music, let's talk about sex, baby, and you guys come together and you talk. Trust me, you need communication on all levels of your relationship, including the sexual department. There's no room for no pride here. I know what I'm doing. No, you guys talk. Do
you really?
You guys talk. Trust me, it's a level of intimacy, because you know what happens as you talk about it and you understand each other, and you can start putting into practice what you're talking about. Even in the moment, that person can be like, oh, he remembered or she remembered that like that. You know what I mean? Or or if there's no communication, there he go with that again, or there she go with that again.
and the thing about it is that you say it in your mind, but you don't say it to the person.
Yeah.
Just tell them, have a conversation, let them know, you sit down and you're like, okay, even if you have to write it out, even if, no matter how uncomfortable you are, the first time you may feel uncomfortable about it, but as you begin to talk about it more, then it'll come easy, and it'll be great. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, this is about the two of you, and you're aiming to please each other.
Yes.
That's what it is. Intimate. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is in your home. This is God's gift to you as a married couple. You're aiming to please each other, just like you may aim to please each other by making each other breakfast, you know, or doing this, or bringing flowers, whatever. All this sets the stage. Remember, intimacy also talks about the atmosphere.
Correct.
You know, it sets the stage. It's a closeness, a proximity, and sometimes you may feel distant because of a lack of intimacy. Everything else could be going smoothly, but you still feel distance because of a lack of intimacy. And you just got to talk about it, y'all.
Don't be lazy too, you know, just because.
Don't be lazy.
Just because, you know, you got yours, you make sure she get hers too. You know, let's make it a balance. You know, it's not fair for you to get yours and she doesn't get hers.
Don't be lazy.
Come on.
It's so true.
Let's knock it out.
True. It's a coming together. It really is, on all levels. You know, it starts off with the closeness, the proximity. We're close. It starts off with the atmosphere, and then it ends with the action. And it's not just the action, but it's the result of the action too. You know what I mean? As a result, you know, you guys just feel closer. You can do closer things, you know? And don't make it just about the action alone. Okay, sometimes people you hear about it, you know, the action is over and so is everything else. Good night, it's bedtime. You know what I mean? But you guys talk, you know, spend the time. Any moment you have together, we're seeing this in the pandemic. There's a lot of people who just wish they had more time. So we hope that what we covered today, it was a blessing to you. Trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be talking about this some more too, because this is an area where the enemy really attacks relationships, you know, and tries to use temptation to draw each other away from each other. But if you talk about certain things and you bring it into your relationship, it makes you stronger. So remember, this is the FIRST. It stands for finances, intimacy,
relationships, sex, time.
And we also like transparency. And we want to thank you for joining us. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. We hope that you all are safe and well out there. All right, so thank you again for joining us. My name is Joshua Fequiere.
And my name is SueAnn Fequiere.
And remember, always keep God first.
Keep God first.
Yeah. All right.